Hey everybody, today we're going to learn how to graph absolute value equations. Now the first thing we're going to need to know about doing this is you're going to know what the formula looks like. Absolute value equations follow this setup where y equals a absolute value of x minus h plus k. Now obviously we got a lot going on here, so we have some different pieces to talk about. So the first thing, the key pieces to these types of equations are the a, the h, and the k. Okay, now the first key piece that I'm going to talk about is the component right here, the negative hk. This gives us our vertex. Now if you remember, a vertex is where a graph is going to basically change direction. Okay, and you're going to see that if you've never seen a vertex before, you're actually going to see that in this example. Okay, now a vertex is denoted by the opposite of h with k. Okay, so that's going to be the very key piece. So for instance, let's say for instance I say that our h value is going to be, say, 3. So let's make h equal to 3 and let's make k equal to 4. Okay, so when I was doing my vertex, knowing these key pieces of information, that my opposite of h, so the opposite of 3 would be negative 3. And then the k value just goes in as it is, so 4. Alright, now vice versa, let's say for instance I made, let me get rid of this. Okay. Oh, little dot. Alright, so here we go. So let's say I made this negative 2. And let's say I made this 5. Or negative 5. Let's make it negative. Okay, so if I'm doing the opposite of this. Whoops. Don't want to do that. Oh, man. Bear with me a second. Just learning this new software. So we said it was negative 2. Okay, so the opposite of this would be positive 2, and this just goes in as negative 5. Okay, so that's basically how this is going to work. Alright. Now, as we were discussing, so the first step in graphing an absolute value equation is you have to find the vertex. So again, we're going to take the opposite. So it's where the point where the graph changes direction. So we're going to take the opposite sign of the h value, and this is going to be the x coordinate of the vertex, and then we're going to take the k value as it is, and this is your y coordinate of the vertex. Pretty simple. So next step we're going to do is then find the slope of this equation. Now again, this thing has a slope, and if you remember, slope basically tells you how the line moves. Your slope is always the a value. Okay, so this is our a value. Okay, so slope's the a value. Pretty easy. So we have the vertex, and you're going to have a slope, just like we would when we were graphing normal lines before, where we had the point and then we had the slope to move off of. Then we're going to plot the vertex on a graph. Okay, so just like when we were graphing normal lines, we'd plot the point first. Same idea here. Now our new thing is going to be an axis of symmetry right here. Now an axis of symmetry basically acts like a mirror in math. So when you move somewhere using the slope, it's going to be reflected over that axis of symmetry. And again, I will show you all of this. Now the equation for an axis of symmetry is the x coordinate of the vertex. So again, if let's say I have a vertex, or I have a vertex coordinate of 3, 4, the equation of the axis of symmetry would state that x equals 3. Okay, so that's that. Alright, our next step is to use the slope, create more points for the vertex, and then we're going to reflect those points over the axis of symmetry. Okay. So let's take a look at our first example. Okay. Now we have our absolute value equation. We're going to start with this. We're right here. This guy right here. So y equals 3 absolute value of x plus 4 minus 2. So step 1 says to find the vertex. So we are going to grab the opposite sign of this guy with that guy. And we're just going to fill it in. So the opposite of positive 4 would be negative 4. And we're just going to grab the minus 2 and put it in here. Okay. So now that we have that, all right, so let's get rid of this. So we have the vertex. All right, our next step, we have to find the slope. So that's this guy right here. So my slope is 3, or as we all know, slope should be a fraction. So it's going to be 3 to 1, which means I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 1 space. Okay. So our next step is we need to find our axis of symmetry.
Daddy, what you're doing?
I'm teaching. So we are going to find the axis of symmetry. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, our first step is we need to plot the vertex. Okay, so let's plot the vertex. It's negative 4, negative 2. So I'm going to go back 4, down 2, make a point. Like so. Okay, so there is my point. Okay, now.
Can I do it too?
Yep, you can help me in a minute. Okay, create the axis of symmetry.
I have to, it's my foot.
Okay, so again, it's going to be x equals. Now we're going to do is grab the x coordinate of the vertex, so negative 4. Now we're also going to create the line of the axis of symmetry, which is a vertical line through.
Can I do in the vertical line too?
Hold on, honey. Like so. So it's going to go right through this point. Okay, that is my mirror. That is my reflection line. Okay? So now, we are then going to do is use the slope to create more points. Oh, and I forgot to put it here. X is equal to negative 4. Okay? So then what we're going to do is we are now going to create points. My slope...
Daddy, that looks like a 1.
Oh, but it's a 4. Is 3 to 1. So from my vertex, that's this guy right there, I am now going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3, right 1.
Where's the sky?
The sky, honey. And then again, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Okay. And I'll zoom in on this a little bit so we can see it. Okay. So again, we're going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3 over 1. And again, I know these are horrible dots, but I'm trying to do this without a very fine point pen. Now, if you also remember, we're going to reflect this over the axis of symmetry. Now remember, folks, that this right here is my axis of symmetry. This is my line that acts as a mirror. So we are going to reflect that. So again, this right here was my vertex, and this right here was my point. So we are going to reflect 1 space back across the axis of symmetry. So right about here. Okay, so we're going to make a new point. 1 space back. Yes, dear.
You were pulling on my nightgown.
Sorry. Now again, we've got another point, okay, right here. Right in this area right there. So we are going to reflect that 2 spaces back across the axis of symmetry. Like so. Oops.
Daddy, can I do the points too?
Yeah, hold on. And now we're going to draw a line connecting the dots. So, like so. and then like so. And then there's our arrow tops. And there is your graph.
That looks like
A V, right?
that looks like a V.
Yeah, and axis and absolute value graphs actually look like little V's. Very good. All right, so let's look at another. Okay, and Bella wants to be able to see you guys, so. And I'm trying something out. New video. So bear with me a second, and we'll flip this so you can see us, since we can see you. Okay. Oops. Oops. Yeah, let me get rid of that. Again, I'm just messing with this new program, so bear with us. Okay, so put us down here. Whoops, I had to flip it. Hold on. Okay. So, there we are. See? Okay. So now, let's take a look at our next problem. Okay? Now.
Okay.
Alright, so first thing we have to do when we're doing these problems is we have to find the vertex. Okay?
What's a vertex?
A vertex is a point where our graph is going to change directions. The little point on the V, that's the vertex point. So we're going to go up here, okay, right there, and right there.
I'm going to go downstairs.
Okay, so say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I'm sure you guys don't want to see me, so just give me a second. So I'll get rid of me. Hey. Well, anyway, you'll have to deal with me. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Goodbye, me. All right, so here we go. So we're going to do the remember, we're going to do the opposite of the x. So 2. And we keep the k value as it is. So my vertex coordinate is 2, 1. Okay? Our next step, remember, is we need to find the slope. Now the slope in this case is our a value, which is right here. So my slope is 1/2, which says I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 2. Okay? So step 2, find the slope. We've done. Plot the vertex on the graph. So we're going to plot the coordinate 2, 1. So let me zoom in a little bit here so I can make a nice point to the best of my ability. So again, coordinate 2, 1 would be right here. All right, there's a nice point. Alrighty, let me zoom back out. Okay. Now, my next step in doing this process is to create the axis of symmetry, the mirror. Now again, remember, this is created by the equation x equals and whatever the x coordinate of the vertex is. Now remember, folks, my coordinate was 2, so its x is 2. So again, I'm going to kind of scroll in a little bit here, over here. Again, I'm going to create a vertical line through the x-axis of 2. And that's not going to be perfect, but again, doing my best here. Do-do-do. Okay. Let me scroll back out. Oop, too far. And scroll up and in. Alright, so now our next step is using the slope, create some new points. Now again, my slope is 1/2, so we're going to go up 1 to the right 2 from the vertex. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to go here. I'll use black. So I'll go up 1 to the right 2. Make my point. Up 1 to the right 2. I'll do one more just for fun. Like so. Now remember, we are going to use the axis of symmetry, that's this guy right here, to create more points. And we are going to reflect these points, okay, over the axis of symmetry. Okay, so here I'm going to try a new feature as a highlighter. Okay, so check that out. So again, so here is 1 point. So notice how it's 2 spaces away from the axis of symmetry. So we're going to go 2 spaces back and create a new point. Okay, so right here. Oh, that's a horrible point. Let me fix that. That looks terrible. Alright, try that again. Not that great, but it's a little better. Okay, now notice this point right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to have another point here. Okay, so right here. Keep hitting that. And then we have another point right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right there. So I'm going to make a point. And then my last step is we are just going to connect the dots. So again, do your best. Hit the vertex. I missed the vertex. And let me fix that. Okay. Whoop. And whoop. There we go. No, not exactly perfect, but you get the idea. Okay. So there is my graph. Oh. Got to have the arrows on the end. Some people would get mad if you didn't. All right. We'll look at another one. Another example. Here we go. Now again, you guys should be getting a little better at this, so let's start off with the obvious. The vertex. Okay, we grab this guy. Grab this guy. The opposite of 1 would be -1, and the vertex is 5. Okay, so my vertex is -1, 5. Okay, my slope right here is -3. So -3 or -3 to 1, which means I'm going to go down 3 to the right 1. Okay, so that's how my line moves. Okay, so step 1, step 2. Step 3, plot the vertex on the graph. Okay, now again, remember my vertex was -1, 5. So let me scroll in here. We're going to go to -1, 5 on my graph. -1, 5 is right here. So let's make a point. Oops. To the best of your ability, again. I'm a little limited here. Okay. Alright, so let me scroll back out. Okay. And let me pick some different colors here. Let's do a little green. And let's throw a little purple in there. Why not? Okay. So now, plot the vertex. We've done. Now we need to create the axis of symmetry. Remember, that is the x-coordinate of the vertex. So again, my x-coordinate is at -1. So x is -1. So we go to our graph. Okay. And we're going to create the axis of symmetry. Okay. Nice dotted line. Okay. Like so. I really can't see that. Yeah, let me clear that out. Let's try the green. I really can't see that either. Try the black. Again, this is my first time with this program, so I'm trying it out a little bit here. Okay. So there's our axis of symmetry. Okay. Oops. Oops. Now I'm really messing it up, huh? There we go. Hey, where are you going? Okay, let me change these colors because they don't look so good. Actually, yeah, we had dark blue before. Well, that'll work. Okay. Now, now using the slope, we're going to create some more points. Now remember, my slope in this case was negative 3 to 1. Okay, so again, from our vertex coordinate, so let's zoom in right there. Okay, our slope was negative 3 to 1, so we're going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Down 3. And I'll just do one more for fun. Okay. And now, remember, we're going to use the axis of symmetry to create more points. So again, here's one point that we had. So I'm going to go one space, we're one space away from the axis of symmetry. So we're going to go one space over and create a point. Reflected over the axis of symmetry. Alright, now we have another point right here. So we went 1, 2, so 1, 2. Okay, so let's make our second point. And then our third point, which I did way down here. Whoops. So there's that one. Notice we went 1, 2, 3. So let's go 1, 2, 3. So right there. Okay. Now let's connect our dots. I'll start at the vertex this time so it makes a nice point. Oops, no, missing lines. There we go. And there's there. And then let's go to the other side. So right there. Let's zoom out a little bit and let me put the arrows on our graph. And there you have it. There, oops. There is our absolute value graph. Okay? Alright, now this one's going to be tricky, because notice we have some missing pieces of information in this graph. Okay, right here we've got some missing info. Okay, so let's scroll in on it a little bit here and we'll talk about this one. Yes, Isabella?
I have a ball for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, thank you. Alright, so here we go. Now notice there's nothing in with the x. So you could say that this is x plus 0, or technically you could also say it's x minus 0. Okay, so my vertex, the coordinate of the vertex, the x, is obviously 0, because there's nothing there. My y coordinate is going to be negative 2 still, that's showed, so that one's okay. So my vertex is 0, negative 2. Now, the other thing we have to worry about is the fact that we need to find the slope. Now, the slope is also missing, kinda. There's a negative out in front here. But remember, what number hides between a negative and a parenthesis is a 1. So my slope is negative 1, or negative 1 to 1. So it says I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1. Alright, so again, it looked tricky, but it really isn't that bad. Okay, so let's scooch back out a little bit here. Alright, so we fixed all those problems. Okay, so we have the vertex, we have our slope, so let's start plotting things. So let's start by plotting the vertex. We have the coordinate 0, negative 2. Okay, so we go to our graph. Hey, where are you going? Alright, so we have 0, negative 2. So I'm going to go down 2. So right there. Like so. Okay. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to use we have to find the axis of symmetry. Now again, the axis of symmetry, x equals, and it's the x coordinate of the vertex. Now, in this case, it is 0. So, doing this one out, it's going to be right on the axis, so it's going to look tricky, but it is what it is, you know. So your axis of symmetry is the y-axis. Okay? Now, let's go back. We know that my slope says we're going to go down one, right one from the vertex location. Okay? So let's do this up. We're going to go down one, right one. Make a point. Down one, right one. Down one, right one. Like so. And now we are going to reflect that over the axis of symmetry. Okay? So again, here's my first point. So we went one space away from the axis of symmetry, so we're going to go one more space over. So there's where my first point's going to be. So right here. Oops, that looks terrible. Let's try that again. Okay. Now, our next step, again, let's do the next one. So our next point was right here. So 1, 2. So 1, 2. Again, that looked absolutely terrible. Let's get rid of that. Try that again. Okay, and then our third one was right here. So we go 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so right here. And then our last step, let's connect the dots to make our graph. So we go, there's the other one. That didn't come out too bad. So, and there you have your absolute value graph. That was pretty easy. Alright, now I want you to try this one on your own. Again, I am going to give you this equation right here. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I want you to try this out on your own. So I'll give you a few minutes to try this. Again, you don't have to stop the recording. What I'm basically going to do is kind of sit back and let you work on this. Give you about 2 minutes, I would say. I think that'd be long enough to really get this graphed out perfectly. So I will step away and let you try this thing out. Alright folks, I'm getting kind of bored. That was about 1.5 minutes instead of 2 minutes, but that's okay, because I'm sure most of you have done this already. So again, first things first, let's go get the vertex. So again, we go right here and right here. So again, the opposite of positive 4 would be negative 4. 4. And we just drag the 5 in like so. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Our next step, let's go find the slope. Well, the slope is negative 3, so negative 3. And again, remember that's negative 3 to 1, which is we're going to go down 3 and to the right 1. So that's what this thing says. Alright, so let's start off. Let's plot our vertex. Our vertex was negative 4, 5. So let's go to negative 4, positive 5. Which is going to be right here. So negative 4, 5, like so. Now, remember our next step, we now have to figure out what the axis of symmetry was. Okay, so we're going to go x equals, and again, the axis of symmetry equation is the coordinate of the vertex, the x, so negative 4. Okay, so let's go back to our graph, like so, and we are going to just make a dotted line. Again, do your best. This is going to act as our mirror. Okay. Let me zoom out a little bit. Make sure I keep going with that. Okay. So now our next step, as I zoom back out and bring us back in. Hey, where are you going? Hey, what are you doing? Okay. So now we're going to then create more points using the slope. Okay. So again, our slope, remember, says we're going to go down 3 and to the right 1. So from our coordinate, our vertex, we're going to go down 3, so 1. Going to go down 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Okay, and now using those coordinates, we're now going to reflect those over the axis of symmetry. So here we go. There's my point, 1 space away, so we go 1 space, so right there. So let's make our point. Okay, and then our next coordinate is right there, so we go 1, 2, so 1, 2, so right there. Okay. Like so. And then just connect your dots. And go to the other side. Make your arrows on the end because these are lines. And there you have it. There is your inequality graph right then and there. Okay. I got another one for you to try. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away for about a minute and a half or so. Let you do this up. Now I've also noticed I've taken away your steps. So hopefully you've been paying attention and remember your steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away for a minute and let you try this out. Remember your steps. And if you don't, check your notes. That's what they're there for. Make sure. I hope you've been all jotting this down, so I don't do this just for fun. So here we go. I'll give you about a minute and a half. Do this up, and then we'll see how you do. Oh yeah, by the way, folks, in case you didn't realize, this ugly thing right here says 2/3. So that ugly a value is a 2/3. So just to let you know. All right, so let's step back into this here, okay? All right, so let's give this a shot. The first thing we do, remember, is we're going to find the vertex, okay? So take this, and again, what we're doing is opposite sign of the x's, so it's going to be positive 1, and we keep the k value as it is as -3, okay? So now our next step, again, if you want to, we can find the slope. Now our slope is the 2/3, so that's 2/3. Oops, that was ugly. That looks like a 5. Try that again. Come on. There we go. That says we're going to go up 2 and to the right 3. Okay. Now, again, when you're doing this out and you don't have the steps, axis of symmetry, again, remember x equals, this is going to be our dotted line, our mirror line. So x equals, and it's going to be the x coordinate of the vertex. So x is 1. So we have everything we need. So let's go over to our graph. Now the first thing we're going to graph, of course, is the vertex. Now the vertex is going to be 1, -3. Okay, so let's go over to our graph. Okay, so -1, 3 was our slope, our vertex. So -1 back, 1 up, 3. Right there, pretty close. Now we're here, since we already identified our axis of symmetry, So let's do that. Okay, there's that. Now, let's do our points using our slope. Now remember again, our slope is 2/3. Okay, so we're going to go up to the right 3 from those coordinates. So we're going to go up to right 3. No, that one's not very good. Let me do that again. Okay, up to right 3. Like so. And now what we're going to do is use our axis of symmetry to reflect. So here's 1 point. So we went 1, 2, 3 steps away. So 1, 2, 3 steps away. So right there we're going to make our first point. Let's make our point. Like so. And then we had another point way up here. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right there. So let's get that guy. Oops. There we go. And now let's just connect our points. So up this way and the arrow. Up this way and the arrow. And there you go. There is your absolute value graph. Should look something like that. All right. I've got another one for you to try. So again, I'm going to step away. And again, notice I've taken away all your steps. So again, I want you to try this on your own. I'll give you about a minute to do this one. These should be a little bit easier now that we've done so many. So.
I have a blanket.
Oh, cool. Okay, so we'll step away. I'll step away for a minute, and then I'll come back and let you try this one out, and I'll walk it through with you. All right, folks, I'm back. So let's start by taking a look. Now again, first thing we do, get the vertex. So grab this, we grab this. Now remember, it's the opposite sign of the x, so it's going to be -4 and +3. Okay. Our next step, let's find the slope. So there it is, -3/4, which says we're going to go down 3 to the right 4. And while we're still here, let's do our axis of symmetry. X equals, and again, the x coordinate of the vertex is -4, so it's x is -4. Oh, yes, dear.
Got my baby.
Oh, okay. All right. So now we got to start graphing this thing. Okay, so let's start graphing this thing.
Is this a 4?
That is a 4. Very good, sweetheart.
This is another 4.
That is a 4. Very good. All right, so let's start to graph this thing. Okay, so let's come over here and we'll blow this thing up. Now remember, our vertex was -4, 3. Okay, so let's go to -4, 3 right here. Okay.
Dad, do you want to color in there?
Oh, you can color soon. Okay, so now our axis of symmetry is x is -4. So we're gonna.
Hey, Daddy, 10.
Yeah, you see the number 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so. Okay, so there's our axis of symmetry. Okay, now from here we're going to use our points using our slope. Now remember, our slope said we're going to go down 3 to the right 4. So let's scroll here. So we're going to go down 3 here. Let me scroll in a little bit closer so we can see. Okay, so we're going to go down 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we are going to reflect these over the axis of symmetry. So remember, here was my first point. 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away. So 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away. That's where the first coordinate's going to be.
That's an 8.
That's an 8. That's right. -8 technically. Yeah? And now we had another point. Now obviously if I were to do this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now my graph obviously doesn't keep going, so it goes off my graph. Okay? So let's graph our line. We're going to do our best. So this one goes this way. This one we just follow the dots. Okay? Like so. And there is our graph. Mm-hmm.
That is a point.
Yes, there's lots of points, huh?
No, this.
Yeah, that. All right. So here's a trickier one for you to try. So like I say in the directions, be very careful. All right, I'm going to give you about a minute or so. So I'll let you try it out.
That.
Okay, folks, Bella and I are back, and again, Bella wants to have you see her, so we'll bring this back up for you. I'll swing this around. Okay. Yeah. Silly, silly. Actually, I got some room. I can put it down here. Okay. So, let's get going in our problem. Okay? So again, first thing we need to do is start with the vertex. But again, the problem is, notice the k value is missing. So we can't work on that. So again, we're going to take the opposite of the h value. I'm sorry, the opposite of the h, which is -2. You're silly. Now the k value, since it's not there, is just going to be 0. Yes, you're silly. Now, next thing we have to do is find the slope. Now notice also, that wasn't listed either. But remember, what number's hiding in front of a parenthesis that you can't see is the number 1, or 1 to 1. Okay? So, this says we're going to go up 1 to the right 1. Okay, now our axis of symmetry, x equals, and again it's the x coordinate of the vertex, so -2.
Daddy, we're getting closer.
Yes. You see everybody in the class?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they're laughing at you. Alright, so now let's take care of business. We got everything we need, so let's go to our graph. So our vertex is going to be -2, 0.
Hey, I wanted to say my thing.
Well, you can see yourself in a minute. Okay. Now, our axis of symmetry is through here, so let's make our line. Hey, 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 hey.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Daddy,
Yes.
a little point.
Yeah, I'll get it. Don't worry. I know some of the kids in my class would freak out about that too. All right. Now, from here, our slope, our slope is going to be 1 to 1. So let's go back to our graph. Okay, so let's make our line. So we're going to go up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. Up 1, right 1. Okay.
Up 1, right 1.
Up 1, right 1. And now from here, folks, we're going to start reflecting. So again, one space from the axis of symmetry of the point, so one space over, so right there. Okay. All right. Now let's do, that one's an awful point. Let me do a better one. Okay, so here's this. Okay. Now our next coordinate, 1, 2. So 1, 2. So right there. Okay. And then our third coordinate, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. So right there. All right, then our last step, let's connect the dots. Like so. And we'll go this way like so. Oh, I missed.
I wanted to help too.
Yeah. Let's do that. All right. Oh, that looks ugly. Let's get rid of this. Come on. There we go. All right. So there is your graph. Marvelous.
No, I can't video.
All right. Here's your last one. Now again, be very careful. I threw a couple of traps in there to see if I can catch you. And again, so let's see how you do. Be very careful. Give you about a minute to do this, and then I'll come back with Bella, and we will do this up. Okay? Alrighty, folks, we're back. All right, so again, let's start our problem off. Okay, now notice I've got some pieces missing. Okay, we've got pieces missing. We've got the h missing, and we have the slope missing. Okay, so again, remember like I said earlier, if the h is missing, not the slope, that really means x plus or x minus 0. So my vertex coordinate is 0. My k value is -2, so that's just -2. Now also realize I put a negative here, okay, for the slope. Now what number is hiding that I can't see? Well, that's just a number 1. So it's a -1 or -1 to 1, which means I go down 1 to the right 1. Alright, so we've got all that. Now let's take care of our axis of symmetry. That's going to be easy. X equals, and my x coordinate of the vertex is at 0. So there we go. So let's start to graph this up. We're going to graph the vertex. Now the vertex is 0, -2. Okay, so let's zoom in. So 0, -2 is right here. Okay, my axis of symmetry is going to go through the axis here. Like so. Now my points, now my slope was down 1, right 1. So again, going to my graph, from my vertex location, I'm going to go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1, like so. And now, again, we are going to reflect this over the axis. So here's my first point. We were 1 space away, so 1 space away here. Okay. Next one is going to be 2 spaces away, so 1, 2, 1, 2.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Bella. And then the next one is going to be 3 spaces away. 1, 2, 3. So we go 1, 2, 3. So right there.
Daddy, my lovey is all dirty.
All right, we'll throw it in the wash.
And then it'll have a nice that.
Yep, and then this goes this way.
My
Oops.
My baby's gonna miss me.
Oh, the problems for a 4-year-old, huh? And then we go this way. I missed a little bit, but that's okay. And there's your graph. So, that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you. So, again, hopefully you learned something good. I know it's hard with a 4-year-old. Try doing this lesson with a 4-year-old, bouncing all around. So, I will see you next time.